Welcome back to Random Rod Shop, folks. Well, you saw last time we got I think we've got the fenders relatively repaired. Everything seems to be lined up. The last piece in terms of body parts is figuring out what we're going to do for a grill. Now, this was, again, this was my dad's old wheat truck, and I'm still going to use the same 4400 emblems on the thing, so I'm thinking I might as well use the grill out of it, because like I said in the last one, I'm not trying to hide anything. Now the issue is the big truck, the grill opening is wider than on the half-ton, three-quarter ton, and 1 tons. So this top bar is the same width on both the Apache and the Viking, small truck, big trucks. Profile's a little bit different. The bottom, this bottom piece is actually shorter on the big trucks than it is on the small, the small trucks. Basically, on the big trucks, that lower fender comes all the way around a little, or the fenders on the lower side, they come in a little further than on the half-ton. So that's a little shorter than it needs to be. That's the same length, but the profile's a little different. And this thing is pretty much right at the opening size on the half-ton. So feels like it may be just a little long. My thought is maybe we can, if we have to, maybe we can cut it down on the ends. There's sort of a straight piece on each end. Maybe we can narrow it back up. The other issue is it looks like it's just too tall also. These stanchions seem like they're going to cause a little trouble. I'm going to go ahead and pull the bolts out of this. I'll move the camera around and let's stick this in the opening and just see what we got to work with. And just so you know, these bolts didn't come out that easy. I've had this all apart and I've tapped out all the threads pretty much on everything on this truck. I think I'm going to have to go back with, if I'm going to have to put it back together, everything gets tapped before I try to put it back together. I'll move the camera around. So it just barely fits in the opening over here. It's not tight, but it's right up against there. Same thing on that side. Let me get a flashlight. All right, now you can see that. There's a little gap, but not much. The question I have is that okay? Feels like there ought to be a gap. At least a little bit. I think I'm going to pull those chairs off the bottom. These are just riveted on, so I'm going to cut the heads off those rivets. See if that looks better if it goes down just a little bit. Maybe center it more in the grill. Okay, well, let me cut them rivets out and I'll get right back with you. Well, folks, it's been a few days since I filmed on this front grill. Now, I've been working on it, a little here and a little there. Just can't seem to get any period of time where I can kind of focus on it. But let me show you what I've got at this point. So I cut that much out of those bottom stanchions. So that's about 3/4 of an inch, give or take. And that grill, I just basically trimmed the ends off and just left the grill itself. welded the bottom stanchions back together, and then on the top, just to kind of fill in the gap, I extended it up using the shelving material we got. Now, I got a lot more welding and grinding to do on this thing, but let me set this thing in there and see what you think. Let me see if I can find a bolt and see if I can get this bolted in from the bottom. So I didn't bring it down all the way centered. It's close though. Let's see what kind of gap we got. Well, it's almost up on that side. And I got a gap, so it looks like it needs to come to the left. So on that side, let's see here if I get the light in there. Yeah, it's hard to see. There's about 1/4 of an inch there. Now this side I got something that looks like something less than 1/2 inch. So that grill needs to come to the left. I'm not sure what that's going to take. Let's see what we can do. Let me see if I can get some bolts on the top of this thing and kind of hold it up in there where it's supposed to be. I want to kind of get all the bolts in before I start wallowing any holes to get it a little, you know, to move it a little bit. Let me see what I can come up with. All right, so I taped some washers together, and I think I got them taped together at the right height. But if not, we can take one out, put another one back in. All right, let me get some bolts in this thing. Okay, well, let's see what kind of gap we got now. Well, it's not much of a gap. Looks like I got, I don't know, about 1/8 of an inch, maybe, yeah, maybe closer to 1/4. Well, looks like it's about the thickness of that light. Let me get a tape measure. Well, that's pretty close to a quarter. It's a little bit more, but it's pretty close. Let me see if I can get some kind of measurement on that one. Well, it's pretty close to the thickness of this metal. And this is 1/8 of an inch. So, it needs to go, technically it needs to go 1/16 back the other way. Maybe a little more than a 1/16, because that's just a little more than a quarter on this side. Okay, well, I guess I'm going to take it all back apart, and I'm going to file the holes out so I can shove it just a little bit to the left there. Okay, let me get back to you. All right, so just took a round file and edged the holes over to the left just a little bit. Well, it felt like a little bit. It's just sheet metal, so it probably went close to 1/8 of an inch. Anyway, let me show you what I got. I don't think it's still not perfect, but it's not bad. That light almost goes in there. And the light almost goes in there. So, let's see here. Man, that is so hard to see, isn't it? Yeah, there we go. I got about that. And, well, I don't know if you're going to be able to tell that or not. Anyway, they're pretty close. I think I can live with that. So you can see that bottom grill area out of the big truck grill. I basically just cut out the louvered section and welded it into the half-ton lower. Now, both trucks, and I guess I didn't realize this until I was taking this thing apart, but both trucks has a deflector shield underneath this bottom panel. And as you might expect, neither one of those fit this new application. So I need to make a deflector shield, and that's just basically to keep the air directed up toward the radiator. As it is now, it's just going to be pushed down under the truck. So I don't think that's a big deal. On the top, I guess what I still need to do is I need to make some bushings, some spacers, because let me get this thing back apart. It just occurred to me that I didn't spend a lot of time talking about the top of it. Okay, let me get it back apart. I'll get it on the bench. All right, so I showed you that I just made an extension for the top of the original grill. On the original grill, that header panel, this piece right here, it bolts up solid to this piece here. Well, I moved the grill down, and if you think about it, I moved the grill down that much. Let's see here. So I moved the grill down about 1.5 inches. So what I needed to do, I need to make a spacer that takes up that gap. And actually, I guess I moved it down the length of that spacer. Didn't really move it down 1.5 inches because that comes over the taper. So let me measure this. Let me measure the spacer here. All right, so it came down about 1 1/16 inches. Does that look right? Yeah, it came down about, so I brought the grill down about 1 1/16 inches. So I need to make some spacers that are 1 1/16 inches. so I can get rid of these washers. That's kind of flaky, but I mean, it'd work, but I just soon have a solid spacer in there. So make a couple of spacers, and I think we're ready to bolt this grill in and see what the overall look is. I'm kind of excited. Get to use the original grill. Okay, well, I won't make you watch me go and finding pipe and drilling holes and making bushings. So when I find some bushings, I'll come back to you. Okay, we got 2 of them. Let's get this bolting together. Okay, well, I think I want to stand back and look at it and just let's have a look. I think that's going to work. Yeah. Okay, what do you think? I have no idea how long this video is going to be. It's literally been 2 or 3 weeks since I got back on this thing, you know, for any length. Anyway, if you enjoy what we're doing, go ahead and hit subscribe and leave a comment. What do you think about that? Leave a like. And until next time, I'm Random at RandomRodShop, and I'm out of here.